Hello, welcome to Feedback for the week of April 27th, 2011. We're at the end of April. I always seem, every time we're at the end of one of these months, I'm like, oh, wow, more has ended. I'm closer to death.
They say it's the cruelest month.
It is, but that's the beginning. I've always assumed that T.S. Eliot made April 1st. He's like, it's going to get better. You'll get out of the wasteland and you're just in the land. Yeah, that's what I think.
Sure,
I don't know. Who
fair
knows?
enough,
We'll discuss it afterwards. Michael Leffler, hello.
Hello.
We don't get to see you that much, so it's good to have you down here.
Yeah, well, Gears doesn't have a beta very often, so...
Well, I know, but if there's a zombie, we try to
to.
bring you in because you're related
I like
to
the flesh
zombies
eaters.
in our minds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Johnson.
Hi.
We have you down here because I think you show up.
Yeah.
I think, I mean,
I
yeah.
rolled out of bed.
And you found the wrong
I
floor.
said, what
We're
the
like,
heck?
yeah,
You know
let's
what?
have Stephen on the show.
All right.
And Nicole Zavala, it's because we asked you. We wanted you
I
here.
do what I'm told.
So thank you all for coming. Word quickly to our audience. Something odd will happen probably in the next 10, 15 minutes on this show. We will all be here. I will look different. We are actually, the beginning of this show, we decided to retape, given new information regarding the PlayStation Network outage. At one point, it was just kind of Sony being a little mum, and now they're kind of being less mum. Less
A little more
mum.
detailed.
A little more details. We wanted to kind of keep things up to date because I guess we care about you guys that much. So we wanted to give you the most breaking opinion that we could possibly have.
Be informed.
Steve, for those who
Yes.
don't know, for those who don't have a PS3 or who haven't been going onto those sites of the internet like G4TV.com, that could tell them that the PSN has been out since, what, last week?
Yes. Oh, a week. Almost a
April
week.
It's been almost a
As of
full
the time
week.
that we're viewing this, it'll be almost a full week.
It wasn't out of respect to Passover, because it's not like the PSN is made with bread.
Well,
or
I mean,
anything.
we can't really rule out that it has something to do with Passover. But the PlayStation Network has been down for a good number of days, and Sony was very quiet as to why for a very long time, saying at first that there was the possibility of an intrusion, and yesterday, as of the time of this viewing, they said that
Get it right.
that Sony that your accounts had been potentially authorized by or accessed by an unauthorized individual. So
And they did say
basically,
person, not individual.
They did say person.
Which is interesting because this seems there have been some speculation that perhaps the hacker group Anonymous, which had been related to another incident involving Sony and PSN,
Right, earlier in the month.
Yeah, earlier in the month with denial of service.
I'm going to
attacks.
say not true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which now clearly they're saying that there's some dude, and unfortunately, while a lot of these denial of service attacks were to make a statement, everything surrounding this seems to be that there was very malicious intent. And I believe actually that Sony used the word malicious in one of their latest statements to PSN users.
And there you go. I mean, what the information that has been stolen is your name, your address, your login, your password,
Your
although
email.
your email. Although Sony has said that they don't have any evidence that people's credit card numbers have been stolen, but they're not ruling out that possibility.
And they're like encouraging people to take all the necessary precautions, be
Right.
mindful of certain emails you may now be getting, phone calls. If some guy
Right.
calls you and is like, "Hey Nicole, what's that little 3-digit thing on the back of your credit card?
Don't
I'm just
answer that.
curious."
Tell him
Now
right
I know
away.
that.
Tell them. Don't tell them. Or you know what's more fun? Make something up.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Because they won't be bothering anybody else for a little while when they think I've got it. I mean, this does not look good.
No.
I mean, I have no idea what security element may have been breached, how this person got in the system, whether it's inside the company or outside the company.
And why are they so confident that it was one person?
That's interesting, but that is one thing that does seem to come across in their statements that they said, like, this is a dude.
Mm-hmm.
And
An
obviously,
unauthorized person.
And
I think at this point, anyone who did this is unauthorized.
You're right, they have not
It
been
seems to
authorized.
be redundant with person at this point in this story.
Could have been an unauthorized dog.
Yeah. Now they've also mentioned that they hope to have some of their network capabilities up within a week. I mean, that sounds fairly serious, that this thing has become such a big problem that they are not confident they can actually get PSN and Curiosity. I'm not 100% what the distinction is between those two.
Me either.
Up and running, all together, within a week. I mean, that's a long period of time for something as important as the PSN to be down.
And that's also the only kind of reassurance they've given. They haven't said if they're going to make up for 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 the developers who have lost time advertising on the PSN. They said that some developers have, like, I think Create Energy, I believe, is a developer. They said that Sony's going to help them by extending their marketing plan. But the developers who made Pixel Junk Shooter said that they've already, they're already seeing financial repercussions from this.
Because obviously you can't buy this game and you can't play this game. Despite the fact that it's just living on your hard drive, you need that connection. I mean, this is the thing that was intimated in that thing we can't pronounce that was so clever when someone put PS3 Apocalypse. Last year in around February. But I mean, when it was like, hey, why can't I play Heavy Rain? It's a single player game. But no, that's the danger of this interconnected world that we live in.
In Sony's defense, they did sincerely apologize.
Yeah.
But they only sincerely apologized in a blog
apologized.
post.
Yeah.
As of now, I don't know, I forget what today is.
I want a personal
What's
apology.
today, Tuesday? Yeah, no, that's just it. There has not been individual emails sent out yet. There has just been a blog post.
Well, I received something today.
No, I think that they're happening.
Now I don't know if that was. I do not know if that was me as a member of the press,
You got that-
or if that was.
You got that through us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Individual account holders have not been notified yet.
I mean, this is one of those where the tone and the very careful language that I'm seeing in the stuff we're getting is showing that they're moving delicately, but also moving very comprehensively. The one other interesting thing that I just read from them is that they have already brought in an outside security firm to assess what the damage is, how severe this problem is. I mean, at the very least, I'm getting the indication Sony's taking this very, very seriously, and I think that they, with all due respect to gamers out there who are frustrated they're not able to play a game, that there may be an issue much larger than this stoppage of online play that they need to first assess before they can even deal with their actual business. Because this sounds like a cluster.
It's a
It's a nightmare for them. Like this is a big deal for this company. I mean, the online component in general for the in the gaming industry is enormous. The fact that they're going to have their whole network down for 2 weeks, I think, is
and everything's been
mind-boggling.
indicating this is one of Sony's strongest years. I mean, amazing lineup of games.
They're going in D3 strong.
Yeah, I mean, and they were going to be coming out of it with just being able to make
so many
Well, they
exclusives.
just have title.
I
this
mean,
year.
it is.
Microsoft's got one.
I don't know. I mean, Steven, what do you think the long-term ramifications? One thing I do know about the internet is the internet just. If I could forget bad relationships the way the internet forgets anything, I would probably be a much happier person.
Well,
mentally.
yeah. I mean, but this is. I mean,
they took way too long to tell people this for them to recover from it.
that's a huge deal.
Why wait a week?
It is a catastrophe for Sony, and it could be a game-changing catastrophe. I mean, who knows how long the memory of the internet will last? I mean, maybe a super great game will come
Depends on the
out
damage.
and everybody will totally forget, but. If they have stolen credit card numbers and people start getting charges on their accounts,
I mean, that's the thing is that the story, even with us coming back into the studio to talk about this, there is one key piece of information: whether or not credit card accounts have been breached.
Yeah.
That is really going to be the tipping point. I think they can come back from the precipice.
Oh, yeah.
If somehow no one got those credit card numbers, but if someone
But they
did,
still took a long time. One of the senators from Connecticut already issued a statement to Sony demanding that.
Who was it?
It was Richard Blumenthal.
Oh yes.
Yeah, he demanded that Sony offer insurance to protect their customers' data and financial records, and that if people were affected by this, that they should offer some type of service to help them recover from identity theft.
Now here's something interesting, because obviously what we are dealing with here with Sony is not unique to Sony. It is not something that has been an existing anxiety and has not happened before. But that's a very interesting idea if we're going to start seeing potential law. That hey, once you give over this data, there's some form of liability.
There is.
That's
There's
the
a law
data holder.
that they have to turn. In the law, you have to notify clients of a breach of data.
Notification. But
Sony's
this idea of insurance is new, I believe. And
it doesn't exist yet for Sony.
I like it.
Yeah.
I kind of
I like that.
it.
It protects
No,
me.
I like it too. I think this is a huge deal outside the gaming scope, and it hasn't really hit the mainstream news yet. But when,
actually, before I left to have something done that involved me having to take my shirt off and put on a new one.
I don't think I want to know the details of that. Yeah.
I noticed he was on the front page of the New York Times website.
Okay, well then I take that
yes,
back.
yes. Forward it too.
And that's what I have been thinking, that, hey, this might stay under the surface. No, this is now looking like it'll be one of those kind of archetypal security breaches that give people anxiety about
Because
this.
Millions
you think
and
about-
millions of people.
Yeah, like parents that have a PlayStation account for their kids and put their credit card numbers in, and they're like, "What do you mean my kid's video games have stolen my credit card. Like it's
Yeah, it just seems like hold on, no, that's the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
That the game came coming in the house going, we're fine.
No,
let me
exactly, yeah.
move, and then so he's like, gotcha.
Yeah, no, and I think a lot of it depends on what's actually going to happen to this data. I mean, if maybe a disgruntled Sony employee erased all this data, and that's why they're angry. But that would be the best case scenario. The worst case would be like everybody's identities are stolen.
That the massive delay in everything could not be something as relatively benign sounding in light of everything else as that is. I think the one other way that this might kind of frame people's looking at these online services is you don't pay for Sony's online, except if you want that special one that allows you to do two or three other things.
You pay for the games that you bought.
No. But there's somehow we have not seen this happen to Xbox Live. I would have just always assumed the prominence of Microsoft, the very toxic relationship that Microsoft has had with certain very intelligent members of the online hacker community. It would just seem that they should have been victims to something like this so long ago, yet they haven't. Whether or not it's true or not, are people going to start to make that association that when you pay for it, it's going to come with certain security guarantees that you're more confident with? I don't know, but I know that my account hasn't been breached with Xbox Live.
That has a lot to do, I think, with Sony's stance on freedom of information, I would say, because that was what Anonymous issue was.
Or stance on lack of freedom of information. So really, that the issue involving Anonymous pointed out.
But to be fair, I mean, if some hacker stole all this stuff so that he could sell it on some kind of black market that I can't even imagine, it's not even political. But I think that Microsoft might be a little bit better at keeping security just because they have more experience at it. They've been doing it
just the nature of it
outside of the gaming world for 20 years in a way that Sony has not. So I mean, who knows? But it seems like they would have a little more experience.
All this seems to dovetail into just aspects that have shown Microsoft to be a much stronger player in that space. And this is just sort of yet another one that Sony, I think, has made great leaps and bounds, but really still seems to be struggling and making a sort of a case for themselves. Just the lack of inclusion of a headset. It is one of those things that is always a point of complaint about.
Microsoft is always that is like their foot forward. Even with the Xbox, that was really important to them. And like you see, Sony's got PlayStation Network. It's like we always, I don't know, before Home came out and was a big deal, I was all like, "Oh, Sony, you are crapping the bed on this one." I'm like their whole network
Home changed your mind?
approach.
Yeah,
no.
Thank you.
Well, again, like Home, I haven't visited Home in forever. Like, is it still on? Is Home still around? Can
it is.
Okay. Make a little apartment.
The urge to do the famous Thomas Wolfe quote is just so strong right now, and I'm not going to do it.
In Sony's
Look,
defense,
Homer Leffler. There, I did it.
In Sony's defense, they do have a very amusing commercial pitch man.
Yes. Yes, they do. And he's a very nice man. I've met him in person.
He's very amusing. I mean, he's very funny, that Kevin.
But if I may,
please,
just when
by
Xbox had some issues, not to this extent, in 2007 holiday, and to make up for it, Microsoft gave everyone a copy of like Undertow or something. So who wants that? Nobody. But they offered something up. They made a peace offering.
It was kind of up there with getting a free copy of Yaris.
It's free, though.
Is there anything more that you've kind of learned about this?
Well, I do have a theory that I think that a lot of experts can agree with me on, is that if you look into it, April 19th is the day that Skynet was implemented.
Oh.
April 19th is also in the launch window when these attacks occurred on the PlayStation Network. So
all right. I'd like to also point out my birthday, April 29th, the day that Skynet becomes self-aware.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. Wow.
Coincidence? Probably not.
I hope you don't have any Labor Day plans, is all I'm trying to say to all y'all.
Also, on May 15th,
you were just sitting at home minding your own business.
I mean, whatever.
Somehow I still think you're behind it, Stephen, but that's me for another.
Hey, you can't prove anything.
I couldn't prove a theorem. All right. With that, we're going to put the PSN behind us and watch something very strange happen as we move on to our next topic. The other thing that happened, and this really just happened yesterday, we were talking about it on the show either last week or the week before, these very, very heavy rumors surrounding the idea of a new console from Nintendo. I seemed somewhat skeptical about it, but I started to see the likelihood of that, and then boom, it was almost like everything hit such a fever pitch that Nintendo said, yes, we are working on a new console. You'll be able to play it at the C3. It's coming out in 2012. Ha! Nicole, what more has been going on with this?
Well, it started as, obviously, Project Cafe, and then...
No, I want to just double check on that.
Name.
Right. I mean, have
no
we confirmed?
That.
No one has confirmed that.
That's a rumored code name.
Yeah. Which isn't a very cool code name at all.
Yeah, I know. Codename should be much cooler.
Project
Project
Cafe
Coffee
just
Shop.
seems like, I'm going to take hot water and put it through something I ground
And I'm
up.
going to work on my
Project
screenplay.
Awesome!
Right. Well, how
And I
cool
might
is
use milk somewhere along the line.
Project Dragon Robot.
Yeah,
Something
See?
like
Oh,
that.
I would play that.
Yeah.
I'm
Remember,
excited
other
for
projects
Project
they've had
Dragon
is
Robot.
Project Dolphin.
The Wii
Well,
was
Project
Revolution,
Natal, like Natal was what Connect was called before they revealed
which
it.
was
Right.
stupid.
And what was the Wii
Yeah.
before?
Revolution.
Revolution.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. It's always interesting to see, like, okay, really? You went from there to, well, whatever.
But I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
Why not? Project Cafe.
well, sure, but I mean, we know there's going to be a new console now, and people are kind of surprised, I think, because analysts have been suggesting that this current console cycle is going to last longer than the others.
And that just came out, too. They said
Yes,
2014.
2014 for Sony and Microsoft, and there's even like an inside source who said that Sony and Microsoft are talking together to try and milk this cycle as long as they can. Nintendo, obviously not in that phone call because, but they've released a console every 5 to 6 years since the beginning. So I mean, it makes total sense.
You know, it's kind of like when Churchill and Stalin didn't, like, loop in Roosevelt on some big decision sometime in World War II.
Are you calling Roosevelt the Wii or the Nintendo?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. See, now that I'm bearing down on my really whimsical analogy, it ain't holding up for crap. So I'm just going to desist with that right now.
But
I think Stalin's more of a Dreamcast.
Wrap
Maybe.
in the Saturn.
That was total non sequitur. I don't know anything about Stalin.
But Nicole, what more do we know?
well, Iwata said in an investor conference, I don't know if it's today or like today Japan time, but 3D is probably not going to be the direction they're going. They want to offer something new. I know, yeah, even though
Yay.
they just gave us the 3DS. They want to offer something new. They didn't comment on anything about the touchscreen that we heard. We heard that it could be more powerful than a PS3. We heard that it could be backwards compatible.
And it comes with a pony. I mean,
That'd be great.
There is a
I'm not going
kind
to
of
argue with that.
like there's a kind of unique moment where right before we
I
know
know.
the specs of a
I know.
console, where it could be anything.
Well, I
No
remember
more friend
the.
codes.
and some of the stuff, you're like, where is this coming from?
We
Well, I
make
remember
it up.
before the Wii came out, like there was that video that came out that everyone was
Yes,
speculating
from the
about.
guy
It's
in
like
Spain.
it, like yeah, and like it mapped like your room into the game and
Yeah, it
all
was
this
like
stuff.
Ray Bradbury's The Veldt. And it was like, no, this is, I mean, it's just.
It's going to be a game console.
It's interesting because I think we put a lot more hope into Nintendo than we do in Sony and Microsoft in terms of doing something ridiculous. Because I was just talking about this on my soapbox that there's a certain narrative that we like with Nintendo, and that's what the Wii did. It was like John Travolta around the time of Pulp Fiction. It's like, bring back that man's career, and we're going to make it happen for him. And they were like, oh my God, he did Michael. You want to take back that career? We're done with you.
What other console maker would release the crazy peripherals that Nintendo has?
I know,
like
I know.
the vitality sensor, the like,
Which is still in
like, the
production.
Yeah, I'm going to say,
knob.
release
Still
not
in
yet.
production, you guys. They announced today that it was in development, and the reason it's not out yet is because it only works on 80% of people.
Oh.
What?
How's that for a? How's
You
that
mean
for a
20%
reason?
of people aren't vital? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
that would be depressing. You're
Okay,
like,
do you
I
know
bought
what
the
level of
peripheral, it doesn't
like,
work
now I
on
need
me.
to try it to see if it works on me so I can figure out what this
What's wrong
means
with
about
me?
who I am as a person. I'm no longer vital.
Right.
It's coming,
Adam.
though, guys.
Take these papers, go in the corner, and, well, just doodle until you die.
It's dark.
Now, here's the thing, and then, I've been rather adamant on this. They have never said Wii 2.
No, absolutely
Right.
not.
I am very much of the mind that this is not a successor to the Wii. That is not to say it won't have motion control, but I think one of the things that Nintendo really did suffer from is what was such a wonderful idea initially, which was the idea of motion control. No one kind of anticipated how narrow the scope of games would be that really take advantage of it. And we've seen with Sony, and we now see with Microsoft with Kinect and Move, you can have a proper console and have the motion control in addition to what the more core gamer expects in terms of the graphical processing and more importantly the interface with that game, which is a lot of buttons means a lot more things can be done all at the same time.
Right.
I mean, I'm more inclined to think that this is a advanced successor to the GameCube that has motion control than.
As an option,
Yeah, I mean, motion control is an option because Wii Motion Plus shows that they've already attempted to get motion to a more refined level. That didn't even work for them.
Right.
I don't see how they're going to improve upon what the Wii was doing.
Well, I guess that's the question. Like, will Nintendo? Because that was the big rumor. Like when, a couple weeks ago when this all came out, everybody's like, it's gonna be more powerful than the PS3. It's gonna be all about the hardcore gamers, and it's gonna go back to that. And it's like that felt like wish fulfillment to me like magical thinking of like, no, Nintendo's going to do a 180 completely from
coming back.
from from what they've been in the past, and like I'd like to believe it, but I don't know. Like, does that fit with their kind of their corporate strategy? Of like what kind of gamers
I mean,
they
it
want
could
to
be.
appeal to.
It's an excellent question.
Like it could be.
It could be.
And
Yeah,
here's
it
the
could
theory
be.
on how it could be. Because if PS3 and 360 are really waiting more than 2 years to put out their next console, the hardcore gamers that are looking for the next big hardcore thing would rally around the next generation system, which the first one would be the Wii. So then Nintendo would basically have two different systems. One that is aimed at the hardcore market and one that is aimed at the casual market. And I could see that working, even though it sounds crazy. Because if you remember the Wii, that sounded crazy too before everyone on Earth bought one.
See, the thing is, do they want everyone on Earth to buy it? I mean, where the problem is that they've encountered with the Wii. Yeah, of course they want that.
Ideally.
With the Wii, they got so many people. I mean, they were making money on the console, which
89
does not
million
have much
copies?
in the
Right.
way of precedence, in the video game industry. It's not set up to make money that way. But the whole point of why you sometimes undersell your console to get it into homes is that then you sell games in the second half of the system because you always have to expect a slowing down of console sales.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, their console sales slow down, but no one was buying any games for them. I mean, I don't know if they feel they've exhausted that market. Would that market actually buy the Wii 2? I mean, are they going to say, well, I have that Wii and I don't play it?
Yeah,
Right.
because
What-
you're loyal to Nintendo. I mean, they kind of screwed us on the Wii, but we're still loyal.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it depends on the software. It's like, because I look at the lifetime of the Wii, like I have we have a Wii in my household, and like I haven't played it in a while because it's like I'm just waiting for Skyward Sword to come out. It's like please give me something that is going to appeal.
Well,
to,
I mean, I hate to say it. Do you think we're actually getting Skyward Sword this year?
I
Now
hope
that they
we
say
don't.
there's a new console coming in
I
2012?
hope not. And I'm
I
a
mean,
huge Zelda fan. I don't want it to. I'd rather it be in HD on the new console, and I don't have to play like this.
Although they might do the thing what they did with the last Zelda game where they put
held
out a
it.
GameCube version and a
Once
Wii
again,
version.
But they
that
held
meant we
it.
had to wait
Yes.
until then.
Yeah.
Now, another thing is, one thing Nintendo has not done traditionally is, what they've been doing recently is, let's announce the new hardware and let's put it out within a year. This is a little bit more than a year. I can only help but wonder, will this actual system be done earlier and they're allowing people to make games for it so that we don't
novel
have
idea.
rush to market? I mean, how many times has Nintendo hurt themselves with not making a strong case at their debut?
Yeah.
I mean, it's driven me nuts in the past, and that I don't just want a Zelda. I want a Zelda. Throw me a Mario. Throw me a Pikmin. Throw me something. I want more. I mean, it's
Ray
not.
Grace.
I mean, I don't want to have to buy Red Steel because I feel that I need to have 3 games.
Yeah. No more Red Steel,
Yeah,
please.
exactly. So yes, I assume they've said that they're going to say more about it at E3. I don't expect we're going to hear more from Nintendo. I expect we'll hear more from everyone other than Nintendo
Yeah.
about what they expect to be, which can only make for wonderful reading. So please make sure that you reprint all the insane things people are saying at G4TV.com.
Oh, we will.
Let's also talk about the other thing that happened this week, which typically, especially this time of year when we're not seeing a ton of game releases, would be the highlight of our week. But no, networks are going down, new consoles are being announced, but there's also the Gears of War 3 beta.
Oh yes.
Yay. That's why we have Michael Leffler here.
Oh.
I've enjoyed it too.
it's
Yeah.
But we brought you on the show due to your sheer enthusiasm, so I want you to speak
Dance.
I will dance. That's what happens. I love Gears of War. I've always loved that franchise. But I'm not great at multiplayer games. Like I just don't have the reflexes or whatever it is. My brain doesn't work right. So I've always struggled with the Gears multiplayer experience. And if you get in late, it's like they're all semi-pros in there, and they're just like, shotgun, and you're just, you can't even get a word in edgewise. But Gears 3, like I played it in North Carolina. We went out there. I played it before, and then I played the beta. And I feel like this sweet spot that Rod and Cliff have been talking about, they have found it. Like I feel like the pacing.
Does it taste like honey?
Oh, it tastes like people getting stabbed with my retro lancers. What it tastes like.
That tastes like honey.
But it's a faster. I don't know, for people that haven't played it. It's like it plays faster than Gears 2.
Because you feel sluggish in the first 2
Yeah,
games. Like
no.
a wet sponge.
And like a wet sponge that gets shot a lot. That's how I feel.
When I have ever laid down and gone, what if I was a sponge in the ocean, just there?
like they all the tweaks I feel like that when here's the big complaint, and this is what's been talked about at the office. It's like, oh, it's shotgun the game, which has always been the complaint about Gears.
I love that idea for a game. I am a huge fan of shotguns.
You're gonna love
the
this,
game.
then.
It's
I'm
the
an
game
up close and
equivalent.
personal kind of guy.
It's the game equivalent
good.
of hobo with a shotgun. So we can get Rutger Hauer running around.
But now there are two kinds of shotguns.
There are, and what's interesting to me is that Rod and Cliff have both talked about how they made the sawed-off shotgun because they're not good with the regular shotgun. It's like you made the game. Like, how can you not be good?
It wasn't Rod and Cliff sitting in a room rubbing each other's belly, coming up with ideas. There were more people. There was like 5 more
That's
people.
exactly how I imagine it, though. So
There's a lot of that though going on, I'm sure. But yeah, like the two, I don't know, Nicole, like what have you experienced with the shotguns?
shotguns.
Like what's your loadout? Because I've found that I've played a bunch of matches and I've settled on the sawed off with the Retro Lancer, and that's my favorite.
because you can't. Can you pick the Retro Lancer from loadout? You have to find that on the map.
No, you pick it from loadout.
Oh,
Like when
once
you
you
when you
unlock
die,
it?
yeah, you hit. Well, yeah, and when you
Okay,
die,
I
you hit
haven't
A, and
unlocked
then
it.
you can change it while you're dead.
See,
Which I
thought-
love that change, by the way.
That's a great addition. Being able to change that, because before you have to change it before the match. Then you have
Right,
like, what,
and
5
then
rounds?
you're like, oh, I picked wrong. Now I'm stuck.
Yeah. But as far as the shotguns go, I mean, people complained so much before that this game was too much about shotguns, and not that I'm mad at them for having the Nasher and the sawed-off shotgun, but they didn't do anything to address the issue that they were too powerful before. They just gave us 2 and made 1 even more powerful with less ammo. And I don't think people are going to get mad about that because I think it's a little unbalanced. Just pick a shotgun though. Like just have a shotgun in your loadout and even the playing field.
Now, to be fair, this is a beta. I
Right.
mean,
No, there's-
given what Nicole has identified, I mean, do you see this as something that is still a work in progress, or do you think someone just took a slice of a finished product? Now, granted, the game was supposed to have already been out,
Yeah.
but it is now not scheduled to be coming out until
September
September.
20th.
Yeah.
I mean, do you see tweaks are coming?
I think so, and there are definitely exploits that I think they're going to change. Like, which this is not open to the public yet. It's unlocking, I think, next week. But capture the leader. There's an exploit where, like, if you're the leader, because you can't die as the leader, it's basically the meat flag thing. If you're holding a grenade, like you can only get downed. You get down and then you just pop that grenade and you can blow people up and then like so like you literally are like indestructible if you're the leader, and that I'm sure they will close that loophole.
It's funny. For reasons I'll leave to the side. I've been pondering a lot of the significance of the Gears of War franchise, which I think is very, very significant in this generation. But I keep on forgetting that they have also come up with this idea of reducing human existence to the term meat.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That is one of the most
true of the
enduring
story.
legacies of the Gears of War franchise. That
The meat cube. I remember
we
the
are
meat
really
cube.
only our end product.
Right. No, I think that they will tweak things up. I feel like if you're looking for them to be like, oh yeah, we've decided like that idea, like, oh yeah, you know what, there are too many shotguns, we're gonna get rid of the Nasher. It's like, which I almost feel would be an interesting choice to make.
I
is
guess
to-
we'll take it out. Maybe
like,
take out some ammo or something.
Yeah, when I
Longer
don't really,
reload.
yeah, and I don't know if I see a change that big with like that kind of like weapon dynamic, because I feel like Gears, obviously every multiplayer game plays differently, but like Gears, at least in my experience, is the close game. Like that's what it is. Like they've got a sniper rifle, whatever, but the game's
also
not really
very
about that.
cover-based.
It's
Yeah.
cover based, and that whole thing of like, oh, I hate it if you just roll around and then you hit someone with a shotgun. It's like, well, that's kind of the game. Like, and it is, and the thing is like that's not fun. Like I actually find that fun of like seeing someone and being able to get in there and like it becomes a close quarters
So
battle.
it's like Tumbler
game.
with a shotgun,
Yeah.
rather than Hobo with a shotgun. Yes.
Gymnastic hobo with a shotgun. Yeah.
Okay, but here's my biggest complaint with it.
Mm-hmm.
You're fighting in like a crumbling French city with like chateaus and like yellow shutters and little chickens running around. That's not Gears of War.
It's what here. I know we've talked about this.
does. I mean, that's part of the Destroy Beauty, which was one of the sort of the marketing hallmarks of the initial Gears of War. I mean, do you see it as
There
that?
was no light yellow. There was no pastels in the first 2 Gears.
Well,
This
here-
game's all about pastels.
Yeah, and
Wait a
we've
minute.
talked about this.
I love something soothing.
Easter colors. Let's get some pinks and some blues. No, we've talked about this, and for me, like I don't mind it. I actually like it because each game should feel different. It's like like Batman Begins, like to use a Batman example. Batman
Nerd.
Begins is like it's very like Blade Runner. It has a Blade Runner color palette. But then that same character in Dark Knight, it's like it's got like the heat look, and it's like with Gears, like I like seeing the progression. I like seeing like I'm not getting the exact same thing. Like
Chickens.
Chickens
They're not
are
even
great.
lambic
I stomped on a
chickens.
chicken yesterday, and it was great.
Do you get an achievement for that, like chicken stomper?
Oh, if there is an
That
achievement,
would change
I will.
my opinion.
So epic! All you need is an achievement for chickens, and then Nicole will like your.
Now, this
pastels.
beta ends for everybody on May 18th, depending if you got it through purchasing Bulletstorm ahead of time or through a GameStop pre-order. I mean, obviously, that I think it's giving me the indication that there's tweakable time. You know, they're taking it out. I think the question I have is, this is not unheard of that we do these betas ahead of time. Granted, you've taken issue with the shotguns. It sounds like there's other people that have taken issues with the shotguns. Leffler hasn't. I mean, do these betas in the long term, do they help the game enough in creating awareness and getting people interested to buy it? Does that outweigh the risk that somehow it sort of misrepresents itself or presents itself very poorly, and people suddenly say, I've changed my mind, I don't want to get it?
You got to wonder how much of a beta is actually a beta and how much is a marketing tool. Like how much?
I've always
What I'm
wondered
saying?
It's not
Yeah.
a demo though. There is people. I think people confuse when they go into a beta thinking that this is an example of the game, which is what a demo is supposed to be. But it's not what the beta is for. So if people
To check that back end, is to check those tweaks, is to see if the shotgun is too
you're
powerful.
doing your civic duty by checking.
Yes, exactly.
And I think
It's
it
like
serves-
voting, but different.
Exactly like voting.
I think it does serve both, because part of what's different with a beta is like, one, it is that they're seeing how it works in the wild, because it's like Gears 2 was terrible when it came out. Like the multiplayer, like
It was bad.
it was broken. Like that was broken, and it's been fixed since. But like that crushed them. That was a really big blow. And so it does definitely see how it's going to behave in the wild. But it also is this exclusive club that people get to be a part of, and it
And
makes people
get
feel special.
Special items from there's
Yeah.
you can unlock flaming weapons from the beta and transfer that over
It-
to your
it-
Gears copy.
It's that
I was
Flaming
trying-
weapons.
I just wanted to reiterate.
no.
I know where Stephen and I are going with that.
Yeah,
I'm
and-
resisting.
yeah, I'm not gonna say it.
Not where I was going.
I want to hear all of your opinions on this. Obviously, as we just said, look, the game's not done. Sometimes I've been of the mind, like, I don't want to see anything until I had the finished game in my hand. I'm just curious. Do you prefer, when the opportunity presents itself, to play a beta, or do you like to wait until the finished game is in your hands?
I do like to play the beta. I wanted in on the WoW beta because they have huge, like for Cataclysm, they had a huge beta. It seemed like everyone was in it. I like the Halo Reach beta. I got to play.
Did you make it in?
to Halo Reach?
No, to the WoW beta.
No.
So you're just kind of there on the window,
I was
just
kind of
waving. Everyone else is
watching.
like, I'm of my life.
Yeah.
I hate that feeling.
Yeah.
I always feel like that.
But Halo Reach, I got to play with jetpacks before anybody else did, so I felt awesome. For the most part, I feel like I'm helping. It's like my civic duty.
Just
Now,
want to help.
Stephen Johnson, do you see yourself as a helper when it
no.
comes to the betas? Do you like to play
No
the betas?
way.
Or do you just want to be with the it crowd?
That's right. No, I don't play
you want to
betas
be a
very
new
often.
egg, not old egg.
I don't play betas very often because it feels like a spoiler and it feels like not a complete experience. And usually when I'm excited about the game, a game coming out, I want as pure an experience as possible. Like, I'm so happy that I didn't play a Portal 2 beta had there been one, because how would that have been fun?
Yeah, that wouldn't have been
You
fun.
see what I'm
I
saying?
have to agree with you on that
Yeah.
one. And Michael, I think you've already kind of written your own answer on this one, but
Yeah.
I'll give you a chance to completely screw that up.
Well, no, like I feel like Gears 3 is kind of a special case for me personally. I usually don't play demos or betas that much, or I'll play a beta for like 2 days because I don't want to oversaturate myself. But yeah, this one, it's like stuff that I'm really excited about. I don't know, it's fun.
Why not?
Yeah, why
not?
not? Especially if friends are on. Like that's
Yeah.
the big thing. Like if all my buddies are on, like I'm gonna hop into that. I'm gonna jump off that
How many
bridge too.
buddies do you have?
Just one.
Well, you have a big neck collecting buddies? Oh, man. Buddy guy. Let's go to our second question of the week relating to Gears of War 3. So the new Gears of War 3 beta is out, and it got me thinking. You see, for me, there's no question in my mind that the Gears of War... See, every so often we write GOW. That could be God of War or Gears of War. They both have a 3 off.
Could just be Gao.
My mind is that the God of War, Gears of War beta is not going to be good. What does it take for a multiplayer game to not only be good, but keep people coming back for months to come? What elements does it take to make a timeless classic? And what examples could everyone think that they would call the greats of multiplayer, and why? Not an easy question to answer. What I remember, and this is one of my first beta experiences, was Unreal Tournament. Before then, it was Quake 2. I would get on, I would play, and not only would I get my ass handed to me, but people really like to remind me they handed my ass to me, and it became that moment of like, I don't want to go out there into the wilds of the PC internet. And Unreal Tournament came around, and it was different enough, yet completely recognizable. But I kind of got that leg up on everyone. I'm like, "Ooh, look at that!" I can't remember the name of the gun with the awesome splash damage, and I just knew how to exploit the hell out of that and kill people. And then you know what? That to me, it's that sense that somehow it's working with me, and I can feel accomplished most of the time, and I'll keep coming back for more.
Well, I think a big thing, because I'm in the same boat. Like I'm not good at multiplayer games, so I feel like what makes me want to come back is almost like the meta. I don't know, like the other things you can do besides just killing people. Because sometimes I'm not the best at killing people, but there's other things like, even if like you died 5 times in a match, we're gonna give you this little medal and you're gonna get some experience off of that. Like rewarding me for sucking sometimes.
No, I still think that was one of the greatest inventions ever.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, please, because I am so damn good at sucking.
Right, or
that I
even
need recognition.
Yeah, or even like those cumulative kind of like subquests of like I killed 10 people with a Lancer, like over, it doesn't have to be in one match. It's just, and I see that little toaster pop up, like I killed a dude and then I got immediately, killed myself. But I got a little hash mark towards that other thing that I'm kind of trying to do. So, I'll just keep playing with the Lancer to get that. And it doesn't make it.
It is a feedback loop.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. And you guys? I mean, what do you think makes a great multiplayer game?
The part of the question is about what makes a timeless classic multiplayer game, and this is going to get super timeless, and I'm going to say that the things that make people still play chess are the reasons that multiplayer games are good.
It's an
Chess.
excellent point.
Here's the thing. The rules are simple, easy to understand. The strategy is simple at first, but the more you play it and the better you get at it, the harder it becomes and the more intricate it becomes. So people will never master it.
I mean, the game really is
and yet
only
it will
dependent
continue to
upon
be interesting.
the skills of the people playing it.
Exactly.
And I think once you have that good match in multiplayer, it's like, ooh, I want that again.
But there has
then
to
you
be-
wait 3 years to finally get that same grouping.
But there has to be rules set up that allow enough strategies and enough approaches to keep it interesting for people that are really good at it.
I like that multiplayer chess.
There you go. I mean,
Well,
they don't have single player yet. So.
No. Well, when Gary Kasparov plays Deep Blue.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I'd say to that point as well, a good sorting mechanism, like something to group, like
Matchmaking?
Matchmaking,
where it's
yeah.
like we're grouping people of equal skill sets together is huge, because you need the noob room. Like you do, because people step into that and get their face blown off, and then that's they don't want to play that anymore.
Intimidating. But for me, community, that's what keeps me coming back. If I have people to play with, then I'm gonna keep playing it. And if the community, if I have to play multiplayer but with strangers, if I know that I'm not gonna get like cussed out or I mean.
Yeah, no.
true.
If you're really into a certain game, but everyone else who's into that game are complete,
Yeah.
you're just like, then you suddenly
Ruined
made yourself
it.
a by association, and that's not good. No, I
But-
agree with you 100% on that.
DLC and new maps. That's what also keeps you coming back.
Yeah, something fresh, something new. The fact that
New
the people
spots
who made it
camp.
still care. So it hasn't been just abandoned somewhere by the highway.
Well, community community events. This is something that Gears 2 has been doing.
Oh,
like
triple XP,
yeah,
30 XP.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff, or changing it up. Like for Halloween, it's like when you go into Horde mode, it's all like just the giant dudes with the tentacles on their back. Like
Bunny ears.
yeah, the bunny ears, like that kind of stuff gives you a little something new. That community support, continued support, makes you want to come back. But it's like, yeah,
It's like when I would play Animal Crossing on my birthday, because
It's
Animal
like-
Crossing remembered.
yeah.
It's exactly like
I'm
that.
sorry, Adam. I'm so sorry.
It's really sad.
Yeah, it is. I want to move on to our third question of the week. From Met Killer Joe. I keep hearing game developers say that they are taking more and more time to polish their games. Gears of War 3, Deus Ex Human Revolution, and Duke Nukem. I'm all for better games, but do you think you can polish a game so much it becomes too predictable or uniform? Half the fun of games of previous generations was that the designers didn't account for everything, so you could find something that made you more powerful and didn't necessarily break the game completely. I think there's two wonderful things going on here. The second part being the part that I love. I think he's right. I think that you need to have, especially like in RPGs, I need to somehow exploit, like, if I really grind, I need to at least have, give me 3 hours where I can kick everyone's ass and I can just have that power fantasy, because that's why I'm playing RPGs, because I'm not awesome in real life.
But those exploits can be put into the formula. You can
Which you've
purposely do that.
and I've always wondered. I mean, I think the second part, let's start with this. Are we really seeing games that can a game really be polished to the point that it's become less interesting? I see what he's getting at, that like it loses some of that rough around the edges appeal. But when I think of their polishing, that means no, there's bugs.
Yeah.
And a bug has never been a fun experience in playing a video game.
I think what he's talking about is those kinds of bugs that are fun for some people, like being able to access parts of the map that you're not supposed to be able to.
Or fall right through it.
Or fall right through it. Yeah. On the whole, I like polish. I'd give up the 1 out of 100 fun exploits for the 99 that I fixed.
With all due respect to Met Killer Joe, I think unfortunately he's named 3 games that have Gears of War 3 was really kind of pushed for reasons outside of just sheer polish. They are now the beneficiaries of getting to polish this game. Duke Nukem they need a little bit of time.
I wouldn't say it's polished.
Deus Ex Human Revolution, having seen the game,
years
this is a
of
game that
polish.
was deeply complex and was always something that you need to get all those. Because that's the thing, is that when you have systems like you do, especially in an RPG, they have to work in concert. And play testing this stuff is not easy. I mean, just coming back from Park City and seeing Skyrim, it's like, how many? You have to have a small army to play those games and beat them into the ground. If that's polish, I'm all for it.
Right.
I want to see my face in that game.
Yeah, you look at it and you're just like, how do you even start to make a game like this complicated? And
Yeah, I mean, do you guys look for exploits in, let's say, single player? Because I think exploits in multiplayer are a whole different story, and no one's really happy about that. But, I mean, do you like to look for that way that you can kind of get at the edge over the computer?
I don't think when I play older games, I know where those exploits are, but in games that I played on the current consoles, I really don't find exploits so much as I find Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of things that I look for, and I'll go down corridors I know that lead nowhere, looking at the walls, maybe something's written down. But those are the kind of things I look for, but I don't praise exploits anymore. Now it's just like, oh, the map's broken.
Have you ever had that experience where you find one of those Easter eggs at the very end of the game and you realize they've been available to you throughout the entire game and you're too stupid to find it? God, that is such a low moment. It's like almost hitting the finish line and like the chassis just drops out from the bottom of your car.
That's so sad.
Well,
I know.
I'll do the opposite.
This is a very sad episode yet again.
I'm so depressed.
Last time we did this was with Ken Levine over at PAX, and you were on it as well.
I didn't cry though.
No.
That's not what I heard.
Steven, do you look for ways to just kind of get a leg up?
Break
You know, occasionally, I mean, sometimes there'll be an interesting one. Like, I saw a couple of YouTube videos of Portal 2 exploits that were kind of cool in being able to portal to parts of the map that you really weren't supposed to be able to, which was kind of neat. You know,
Yeah, that game, and also I like to look at those because you have to be really clever because that game is so just perfectly designed to not have you do that.
Yeah.
That when you can, it's like, whoa. Except I did find a secret area in one area early on in Portal 2, and I thought I was like the coolest guy.
Did you find a secret area? I found a secret area that it had like writing on the wall, like in the first portal, and then I jumped down, and then I looked back up, and the doorway was gone.
What?
Yeah.
What?
I swear.
No.
Uh-huh.
Didn't happen. I have to go back and start
I'll
over
find
again.
Oh, exactly.
see, now I'm feeling like you do. I'm like, there's secret areas in Portal 2.
Yes.
I don't know where they
You know
are.
what? The only way to never know that you haven't shared an experience with other people is don't share your experiences with other people. Okay?
Poignant.
That's my profundity for the day.
It's like the sad Fight Club.
Don't talk about exploit club.
Don't talk about fun.
No. This is Fun Club. We don't talk about it here.
There are lots of rules. That's
Yes.
just one of them.
Yes, Will Wright gets to have stupid Fun Club. We just get Fun Club. But that is exactly what feedback is all about. I would like to just thank our panel of people, Michael Leffler, Stephen Johnson, Nicole Zavalich. Obviously, we have talked about some stories that are happening this week that can only be getting more interesting as time goes on. So the way to really know is read anything that Nicole or Stephen write about. Or tune in to feedback, and that's available every Wednesday at g4tv.com. It's obviously on the website after that point, but, be fresh, be with everyone, sharing the experience.
Do you play World of Warcraft or one of its 1,000 clones? Do you know what a mob or pug is? Then you'll want to make sure to check out the MMO Report. It gives you all the massively multiplayer online news you could want in a neat little package named Casey Schreiner. Check out all new episodes every Thursday over at g4tv.com/MMO. You're welcome.